We have talked to our president. He's available for presidential debates. Ministers are available. They'll be racing against our colleagues. We want to see who has that IQ to provide direction for the country, unlike the bickering that we are used to. So I want to thank citizens for this gesture they've demonstrated after reflecting on the things that I've referred to as our background. And all of us know that those are facts. They know that now we are recruiting from employment freeze to thousands of recruitment on an annual basis. Immediately we took over 258,000 farmers, all of them cleared. We went further now to dismantle what government was owing council workers. From there, partial withdrawal. Then we went to attack retirees now. The next thing, the universities. They removed meal allowances because they were not sustainable. We reinstated them. We are basically repairing the country before we can talk about proper development. Repairing it first. It was an ICU. And these voters are sending a message to the opposition. And they are saying, we thought you have changed. You have not changed. You are telling us a change must go. And you have no alternative where you are. There is fragmentation. There is Rubinda, there is Mundubile, there is Nakachinda, there is KBF, there is who else? Fredman. The citizens don't even know who wants to challenge HH. Let us assume today HH friends stepped aside. How many of those people that are parading themselves can run the country? How many? They are even shocked. They don't know how we have brought back the mining sector. Serious thinking, bargaining. Now, the whole region, Africa and the world seem to have their eyes on Zambia. And reports that we get are interesting. We mentioned that we are back in the World League. Now, just a clear reflection and a clear message. After citizens have shown our colleagues who went into Karurushi using the deceased as a message, as a manifesto. People in Karurushi said, no, we are not going to eat it. They're dead. That one is gone. Tell us what you're going to do for us. They never wanted to listen. Muluvinda went there to start lamenting. Mundubira also did the same. I told them that, look, it is this behavior that people will punish. You are in politics. Our former head of state is gone. What is your message? They went to tell people now, this person was blocked. Who doesn't know that many people were shocked when they expected HH to arrest ECL immediately after assuming leadership. ECL was there. When we expected ECL to be arrested, having caged this colleague for more than 3 months for doing nothing. ECL had his time at home with the family. President HH and government said we have no intentions of lifting his immunity. The only head of state, former head of state, going to the grave with the immunity. You will know that the first thing that President Michael Sata said was that immediately I assume leadership, I will lift the immunity of who? Arabi. Immediately he won power. That's the first thing he did. For them, they were not even joking. Apart from blocking Arabi from going out of the country, it could take a court order. Arabi could go to court to get a court order to get back the passport. Even after getting the court orders were ignored at the airport by immigration officers. That's where we're coming from. That's where we're coming from. I had a conversation. You know, I listen to all media houses. When I miss them, I go online, I start listening. Because how can you lead the media team when you're not listening to what people are saying? So I take time to listen to different media houses. I'll go to Central TV, I watch. So don't demean yourselves as a media house. I listen to you. I will go to Lusaka Radio, I listen. I go to blogs. I want to hear what somebody is saying. Okay? I think there's a phone that's vibrating there, maybe it could disturb them. So, I go to Central TV, I listen. I go to Revelation TV, I listen. Crown TV, Millennium Radio, I listen. You ask the owners of Millennium Radio, they will tell you that I do listen. At times I would even ask them, I would want to participate. By calling, they will tell you that I listen. So, we are saying, We must be fair with one another. We are looking forward to a time when there will be burial, so that we can forget about this issue, the debate we are having. May our colleagues help us? Yes. We can forget about these unnecessary debates we are having and allow the dead to be buried. So what we are looking forward to. Of course, we are cognizant of the fact that there are other statements that are coming on up with regard to the date. So we want to send a message to our colleagues in the opposition that can you come up with a manifesto? The dead should be left alone. Okay? What message do you have for the people of Zambia? Because if they are reasonable enough, by now they should have dumped the idea of using the dead body as a campaign material. From this by-election, they must learn a lesson, because they thought people were going to sympathize after presenting this message. They went to Lumezi. People in Lumezi refused. Records can show you. They went to Northwestern Province to say the same thing. They refused to listen. You still had in Kimasara Ward, Solwezi, UPND 678, CF 95 watts. That's not just a landslide, it's an earthquake. Then you go to Manguza Ward in Choma, UPND 887. Now, there is no consistency in their performance. You must be very clear, with a clear mind, on how people come into power in Zambia, historically. In Solwezi, the only ones that were contending there is, I mentioned, it is what? CF. Now you go to Choma, the so-called Tonse is not there. There is only, is it leadership movement? LM. They got 64. UPND 887. Now, you want to claim to win elections, you must be consistent in participating across the country. And you must command a secondary position throughout, so that you start closing in. That's how you do it. And as a point of reflection, friends, you remember that even President Saka, we knew that MMD was gone. The moment MMD started losing some by-elections to the opposition, that's how we were able to know. You could hear Sata, whom I interviewed many times, say, we have grabbed this one, we have also grabbed this one, even that one we are grabbing it. He was in the opposition. He started with how many MPs? 1. Then later on, 22, and went up. In other words, he was not going down in terms of the number of members of parliament. You can't have a person in the name of Fred who has no MP claiming he can jump from number 5 in 2021 to the front. Politics don't work like that, Fred. You must command a close encounter with the one who beats you until you close in. In case you've forgotten, that is what happened at South Sudan. How did UPND win? We were closing in. By 2016, ECA was in State House with about 22,000 votes. UPND knew that we just need one constituency. He's gone. Then, instead of these friends of ours sitting down to think properly, even when they knew that their candidate was in State House with very few results, they decided to put 50% plus 1. Then we said, very good. Then we agreed and said there will be no rematch. No second ballot. We must knock them out in the first round. That was the plan. UPND sat down. How do we knock them out? In their so-called stronghold, we must endeavor to winning, not second position. That's how President HH won in Northern Province, both 51%, ECAO 49%. That's how UPND won. You can't just wake up and claim, this one must go. You must be very careful. A few months before the general elections, you don't have a leader. In fact, a battleground has not even been drawn on their part yet. Because it is anticipated. Because that's how they behave. We know that. If you recall, even how ESAO came, it was a bloodbath. Because all of us know that PF has never had a convention. In a way, they've never. from its inception. What you saw at the Munumusho Local Forum, it's not a convention. They will tell you themselves, including friends. They have never had it. So, you have also friends, as we continue to glorify the electorates, in Lumezi, because they thought they were going to win in the manner that they won in Petauke. In Petauke, we knew the mistake we made. I was there myself. Before the pause, I even told the Secretary General, we've lost this election. What do you mean? It's because of ABCD. We know our strategy. The president was in Tanzania. He said, Mark, you've been in politics long enough. What are you seeing? I told him the truth. So we know the mistakes that were made there. So when our friends start celebrating, they do not know what they're celebrating. For a record, up to date, they don't know how they lost elections in 2021. And for as long as they do not know, they will never know. And you see, when we have by-elections like this, we have one clear formula which we use. And we nail them anywhere. Whether it's Chipata or what. Once you've done that homework, we allow the electorates, they will go. We just wait for them. You voted, they voted, yes. We start waiting for counting. Then they are done. We win polls before we go for polls themselves. Okay? Because we have strategies. A number of you don't know. We will sit down and say, okay, how is the situation there? This is the situation. We do the assessment. We have Lumezi. Lumezi, we performed extremely well. Even we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 political parties that participated. Among them, CF, NCP, UPPZ, is this INDLM. Again, here Socialist Party is missing. I don't know whether they are in Tonse. Now, these are guys who, when they go on radio, they claim they will win. Then they are shy to participate in certain places. How many political parties do we have which are resistant? Why is it that this is the highest number we have during by-elections? Then what you see here is that we hammered them squarely. Even if you add all their votes, they are not still beating UPND. It is the voting pattern today, friends, is not different from 2021. That is the message. It is not different from 2021. In 2021, even if you put all the votes of the opposition together, they are not winning. The trend voting pattern has not changed. In Lumezi, which they always glorify as their stronghold, you go there, you put all their votes together, they are losing. And now it's worse, because UPND has improved there. When they were celebrating the Petauke, we knew that even if we lost, we improved. Because in 2021, UPND got 1,500 votes. In a by-election, we got more than 10,000. So we could see that, okay, we are bridging the gap. People are getting the message on cash for work. People are getting the message on CDF. People are getting the message on skills training. People are getting, villagers are getting the message on free education. We knew that they are getting the message on timely distribution of vaccines for animals. For those farmers that are based in those rural areas, they are getting the message. Skills training in carpentry, skills training in general agriculture, skills training in artisanal program, skills training in welding, tailoring and all those. People are getting the message. We knew. And the best message to the people of Zambia for us is what we have done for them. That's why we said we are not rewriting the manifesto. Because it is still operational. Free education must be sustained as long as UPND remains. CDF must be sustained. Continuous devolution or decentralization of public funds must be a continuous process. That's what we are saying. We must continue recruiting thousands, meanwhile growing the economy. Growing the manufacturing industry by creating more jobs. Now we can export batteries to 8 countries today. From Chibombo. We can now export electric wires to 9 countries. We've now embarked on manufacturing cholera vaccines. The market is there. We are not joking. That is the information we are giving the people of Zambia. We have Mileng. Again, UPND got 366. We adore this. CF came out second with 259. Socialist Party number 3. These are correct results because Socialist Party came out number 5 in 2021. Okay? Then you have AOM, which participated somewhere, they got 26. So, we are now getting to close to 4 years in leadership. We still don't have a contender. In other words, we are worried as UPND that the opposition is dying. To talk, ask proper questions. Now, they are not asking us serious questions. Perhaps now this justifies the reason GPMO has to come back. Taking the political party into oblivion. And they believed at that time he was the worst. How can he be the best this time? So we welcome him. Now, for him to come back as the best, you should know that we have now, he agrees with us that we have the worst opposition ever in the history of this country. In the history of this country. As can be seen, if UPND was unpopular, by now, winning elections could have been neck to neck. That's how we knew. When ECA was there with about 22,000 votes, we knew it was gone. And in that 22,000 votes, they rigged. Then what did he get in 2016? If they rigged, you saw how we were catching them in Chawama. After the total number of votes, they counted, we found that the number of votes that were cast were more than the number of registered voters. What kind of thinking is that? That's how they won in 2016. And that's why they didn't want the presidential petition to be heard. Because we had the evidence. You saw others were caught at the civic center with pre-marked ballot papers. Then the question you need to ask yourself, how popular was PF? Those of you who think they can bounce back. We know what we're talking about. Those of you who think they can bounce back. Because even in 2021, you know that they were rigging. They registered people sometimes more than 3 times to vote thrice. I'm sure you recall that news. They went and had what they may call systematic bias of registration of NRCs, where in those perceived UPND strongholds, they took limited material for registration of NRCs. Because you know that registration of NRCs is related to registration of voter cards. They pumped in so much money for voter registration in their perceived stronghold. I asked them a question myself. How do they know that the people that are registered will vote for them? They only helped UPND in Northern Province. Because Northern has taught them a lesson. In Eastern Province, you saw it was neck to neck. Now, by-elections are nearing 110. We're almost getting there, 110 by-elections. Have you asked how many they've won? They are saying no. Even the PF was winning when they were in the ruling party. I'm sure I've heard that argument. I remember that UPND has been in the opposition for a longer time than this. Those strategies have been used by UPND before when they lose, whenever they lost. No, they are in the government, so in a general election to be a different picture. Who told you? Because if you look at PF in government, they were struggling to win a by-election, then we knew they were gone. To win a by-election under the PF when they were in leadership, it's either they shoot someone like in Kaoma or Rwansha. They had to grab using guns. You saw in Kaoma, the ministers Twala, Mbangweta, and Gary Kombo were asking. A police officer arrived there with a ballot paper. You remember when they were questioning, where is that going? A police officer, that's how PF were winning by-elections. We knew they were gone. In Chilubi, when there was a by-election, Chilubi Island, Edgar Lungu sanctioned the police to escort President HH and Kamwili up to Luapula, out of the campaign area. In other words, if you want to know that these are gone and they're in government, they struggle to win a by-election. In Sesheke, they wanted to grab that seat. It was going to cost President HH's life. Live ammunition fired at him for doing nothing. Up to now, have any of you asked where they were opening fire at HH? He had to walk through the forest at night to save his life. And that's how they failed to win that seat. Today, as we speak, UPND is winning by-elections with ease. They are winning with ease. We are not panicking. At least, even in their bitterness, in their bitter heart, they should congratulate us for winning elections. If they cannot congratulate us, they are shy, let them congratulate the electorates for exercising their democratic rights. Than keeping quiet and always, because they have been lamenting about rigging, starting with Edgar Lungu. You remember he said in 2021 that these elections were not free and fair. How can the sitting president say that? Because that government machinery. So they'll continue lamenting, but they will not adduce evidence to that effect. So we want to say that, again, as a call, that we have no opposition as far as we are concerned, and we are worried. It is as a result of a worry that we are welcoming Chipimo, though you will add nothing. Again, so that even makes us more worried. We just hope and pray that in the future we can have a formidable opposition political party, which will provide checks and balances by sector. I want people that can challenge me and say, we have an alternative to free education, and this is our debate. We don't have. I want people that will tell me that we have an alternative to electricity, other than what we are trying to do, alternative source of energy. Then, I'll be ready for the debate. But they're not telling us about the alternative. I want people that to tell us that you are recruiting thousands every year. Our alternative is this. There's nothing. We want people that are going to tell us that you have revamped the mining sector. Compaign is back, and more expansion and more expansion. Such that there are more than 14 airlines landing now to Secretary Airport. How did the president do it? He had to reach out to friends. And people are laughing. In the same manner, some of them will continue laughing. There will be direct flights from China. Now, Russia also is pushing for a direct flight from Moscow. It's not by accident. Okay? We have already a direct flight to Istanbul, Turkey. We have a direct flight now to Uganda, Entebbe. Direct flight to Malawi. Direct flight to Zimbabwe. What are they looking for? They don't introduce direct flights to appease people. It is executives flying to this country for investment. They have certain businessmen internationally whom they follow. When they see them using many other airlines, they also introduce an airline. That's how airlines operate. Today as we speak, how many times is South African Airlines, it will land, it goes back, it comes back. The Zambia Airways lands there, it comes back, it goes back, just like that. Now we have opened up to East Africa, and many more activities are likely to happen under President HH. And this is why we are saying, if all things being equal, we get HH aside, then we ask among those people that are using a dead body as a campaigning tool to tell us how many of those can fit in the shoes of HH. You're not going to even tell me one. So, we don't want to waste time. We want proper checks and balances. People are going to tell us what their checks and balances are to reinstated meal allowances for the students. What their alternative is to 36.1 million CDF, where there is no constituency that will boast of nothing from the time we came into leadership. At least they will have a problem maybe in a year for having failed to, not that HH has failed. Government will have put in the money, but individuals decide to misbehave for their own interest. You see it in Parliament. The government, did you receive the money from government? Yes, we did. But why did you fail to do the projects? What do they say? They have no reason, they're just asking for forgiveness. That is the only thing we can talk about. But above all, we have the type of leadership we can talk about. President that can listen to you. When you talk about media freedom, he will listen. You talk about statutory media regulation, he actually jubilates when there is an engagement process. For a very long time, the only head of state who can meet journalists the way you have come, openly, and is ready to provide answers from his fingertips. From his fingertips. He will be able to answer. Meaning he's in control of institutions. He knows what is happening in each institution. So now he's ready for debates. He's not shy. He's ready to be asked questions that you ask. What about the cost of living? Eventually it has to go down. We have seen inflation going down. We have seen kwacha appreciation. What have we done? We are increasing on the exports. Those companies I'm talking about, when they take things out of the country, we are attracting more. When these mines have resurrected and they are seeing many trucks taking out things out of this country, they are bringing kwacha into our economy. And if you and I agree that appreciation of kwacha contributes to the prices of commodities to go down, as we have agreed that when kwacha loses value, prices of commodities go up. Huh? We should also agree that when fuel prices go up, prices of commodities also go up. If it goes down, prices of commodities should also do what? Go down. But I'm surprised that we have in some quarters people arguing that this price of reduction in the price of fuel will not trigger the reduction in the price of commodities. What kind of thinking is that? Because the opposite is correct. So friends, we want to end here by thanking Zambians for teaching these friends of ours a lesson. If they are sensible enough, let them down to the dead body and come up with a manifesto. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director, for that elaborate presentation. Members of the press, now I will invite questions. Kindly introduce yourself and the media that you are representing. I will start with my good lady here and then come this side. Yes, madam.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Esnat Lungu. I'm a freelance journalist. My question is Lungu.
Oh, Esnat Lungu?
Yes.
The one we met at
Mulungushi, yes.
At Mulungushi?
Yes.
Yes.
Now my question...
where there was your son. So where did those, by the way, where did those classmates come from? Because some of them, you need to ask those who are writing at Imanoma. You should tell him to give you at least a list of 10 classmates. Okay, you can proceed. It was on a lighter note.
All right. Now, there was similar indicators in the economy in 2021 as we were approaching the elections. And speculation was that it's only for political purposes that things seem to be improving. That was under the PF. We're seeing a similar situation now under the UPND. What's the difference with what was happening then, and what guarantee can we get that things are going to remain the same or continue improving even if the UPND again is elected in 2026? The second question I have is, there have been fears of voter apathy by some organizations. This premised on stories that some people prefer to maybe go to the market to make money as opposed to go and queue up and vote for a government that is not going to change their situation. What is your comment on that?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Ndanji Duncan Simanza. My first question is around the impasse. I think this particular issue which is in court, we can only
That's
speak...
Duncan?
Ndanji Duncan Simanza from Diamond TV. I want to find out, according to former First Lady Madam Esther in her submission in South African High Court, she did make mention that the former head of state, the late former Sixth Republican president, left the country in fear of persecution. What's the party position on that matter? And my second question is, I don't know, since the time you came from China, if you are privy with what happened in, is it Mangoza? Is it Mangoza? Mangoza, yes. So there was some level of political violence which were reported, and your party was in question as they asked somebody from the leadership movement. What's your position on that as a party? Then my last question is on the
Okay, since you have, maybe let's be fair now. Okay, let's do this. Since you've asked two questions already, your friends are not in agreement. What we may do is, let's get the third one so that we respond. And then if there will be another round, we can pick the last question. Okay, my brother?
All right. Yes, sir. Okay, go ahead.
From Astro TV. Mr. Moe, you've expressed very strong confidence that UPND cannot lose power in the upcoming general election next year. History has shown that even the Patriotic Front at one point could win all the by-elections. What makes you very confident, and how do you respond to people citing precedents that they're just being overconfident and they end up losing?
Thank you very much. Let me start maybe with the last one. Since I spoke to some of those issues. The last one, PF did the same. I took you slightly backward to 2016. And I told you that already someone was in State House with about 22,000 votes against HH. What does that demonstrate? Neck to neck kind of affair with a highly contested rigged election. So we knew they were gone. And I mentioned to you that unlike the time of PF, when PF started grabbing some seats from the ruling party, we knew that MMD was gone. UPND also started winning. We were beating PF by election. When they win, a life may be lost, or we may see them raping, beating up people. Remember what they started doing? Why they would do abduct our candidates. We tried to look for candidates. So what we started doing, I want to tell you now, I want to disclose. Because of the behavior of PF, they were abducting our members on the day of filing in nominations. Every time we are going for nominations, how many adoption certificates were we sending in? At every by-election under PF, we were having 2 candidates. That's how serious it was. Immediately, this one stopped speaking up the call, the other one 5,000. That's how bad it was. You would not understand because we were there. Okay? So, historically, it has shown that when the ruling party starts losing by-elections, then they are gone. This particular ruling party has been winning with the landslide, not through cohesion. We are coming from a background where a by-election was a place of bloody activities. You saw the other one who was chopped here in Chalala. Then this opened. That's where we're coming from. You will not see that under the UPND. You will not see that under the UPND. The president has made it very clear on respecting the wish of the people. And he has made it very clear again. If you want HH to go, he will go and he will go back. Huh? You will not make him poor by going because he did not come in poor. It's not easy to sustain a political party for many years, for your record, which files in nominations in a by-election everywhere in 5 years. UPND was the only political party that was taking part in by-elections everywhere. Some of these, we know why they're not taking part. They have no money. It's expensive to run one by-election. So, my brother, it is not overconfidence. Number one, we have certain things we are speaking and we are ticking. Okay? I will get there. As I answer another question. It's coming from, before I will make that one last for this year, okay? Let me deal with the question that he made. For political purposes, things are improving. Is that the correct position? I don't think so. I want to be very clear with you by going by sector. Number one, we found school pupils in the country. We have added over 2 million school pupils going to school because of free education. Is that an improvement or reduction? Immediately we introduced that policy. We found about 117 teachers across the country. Today we have over 154,000 teachers in barely 3 years. Is that an improvement or reduction? I want you to understand. Because it was a project for the UPN. We promised citizens that we shall remove employment freeze. Have we removed it? Have we? We have removed it.
Yes, it's
We are employing every year. Is it towards the election? No. 30,000 teachers at a go. There is no single country under all these countries that God created with that record. Only Zambia.
Yes.
In 3 years. Is that an improvement?
Yes, it's going.
CDF, we found it at 1.6 million. In 2021, PF even failed to pay it. We had to clear it, and now it's at 6.1 million. Is that a reduction?
That's going.
We found that, friends, we found that in the agricultural sector, there was only FISIP. We introduced a credit facility under SAF. After earmarking 17,000 farmers, we are seeing them receiving these agricultural equipments, including irrigation equipment. We are now producing maize, not only during the rain season, but throughout the year. Is that an improvement or reduction?
That is going.
Why have we ended up where we are with the bumper harvest? Has it got anything to do with the elections? No. We are coming from a drought. You are the group of people that think properly. They are to devise a mechanism that we cannot continue depending on natural rainfall when we have rains, when we have water underneath. Government undertook an initiative to push money into irrigation. Then 1 million in 2022 was released towards Zambia National Service to conduct audit of farm blocks across the country. And as we speak, ZNS took over, has taken over farm blocks and they are producing. Is that an improvement or reduction?
It's brilliant.
You go to the universities. There were 2 public universities that were receiving meal allowances. They were scrapped off. We reinstated meal allowances and extended to all public universities. Is that an improvement?
It's brilliant.
Is it about general elections?
No.
We took it a long time. Now, when we come to, let's get to the cost of living. Frank talk. Usually it's about milling. Are the milling companies dancing to our tune? They are dancing to the tune of supply. Just yesterday you heard about 535,000 tons Eastern Province alone. We are not joking. Was it by accident? No. Government took an initiative. We have given farmers irrigation equipment. Go to Central alone, over 500 metric tons, a province. So when we're talking about million tons, we know what we're talking about. We know that when there's a supply of this so-called key commodity, milling meal, it also helps other reflective prices of commodities to go down. So, the reduction in the price of milling meal you are seeing has nothing to do with elections next year. It has everything to do with citizens who responded positively to a clarion call by government to engage in irrigation farming. So it's not by accident. The next thing that I want to raise, mining sector. KCM was liquidated. Over 7,000 workers were retrenched. Mopani went down below 30% production. Copper belt collapsed. Has it improved or it has died? Because each of those mines is bringing back workers. For example, Mimbula mine has about 3,000 workers in Chingwala. You go to shaft 28, dewatering, which is above 90%, so that they can allow for underground mining to take place. Luansha had died. It has resurrected. You are seeing time as I've heard those conversations I listened to, where people say, no, they're just completing the PF projects. We started the road. My sister. Masangano, Sengi to Rwansha. It is done and commissioned. We started another road. I'm not talking about PF project. We started another road from Chingola to Chirirabumbu up to Kasumbalesa. It's done and commissioned. We have started other roads to get to Sakanya border. We have started Lusaka and Dola dual carriageway. President HHY in opposition told you that I can do this road half the price. They were mocking him. And he has now done it at lower than half the price. And one of the project managers who were given a contract under PAF came back to accept that I'm ready to do it at half the price. Meaning even the contractor knew that it was expensive. Now that is a different type of leadership we are talking about.
Quality leadership.
This issue of Kwacha performing well has not started now. A year ago again, Kwacha was the fastest performing currency. 2 years ago. We had a research by Afrobarometer, which was, in fact, it projected Zambia as the most democratizing country. Comparatively, I was just telling you that these conversations we have in Zambia on radio and TV where people are calling, if you go to Botswana, you take the same callers, they were arrested the same day. Just giving you an example. Just based on what they talk about. But not here. When I bring friends, they say, in Zambia, this is how you can talk about these things. Not that government cannot do anything. Government can do something about it. But we want democracy to grow. Because when you are in a leadership, you must always realize that there is tomorrow. Okay? The next question. Voter apathy. It is common in all by-elections in the world. It's common in all by-elections in the world. We have never had a by-election with 100%. Most is below 70%. mostly it's below 50%, unfortunately. Voting improves mostly in a general election. So there are always these problems. Some may either have lost their voters' cards, others stay very far, and they're saying, why should I move all this distance? There are various reasons. So in a general election, so voter apathy takes place in every general election. I'm sure if you go back to your records, you'll find that information. Lastly, this question to do with ACL being persecuted, I think I've dealt with it. If it were another jurisdiction like West Africa, the moment HH was sworn in, ACL could have been arrested. I've told you, you have asked questions, why do you think he could have been arrested? For treason. The Constitution says, when there's a presidential petition, the incumbent is supposed to hand over power to the Speaker of the National Assembly. He did not do that. That's an offense. You think UPND is shy? You heard what Kabimba was saying when he was discussing with the senior government official, who were saying the problem is the HH. This year was alive. The problem is the HH. We have told him, this man, strip off his immunity. Because we caught this person with ukwa bags. All these things are pointing to the same person. Why are you ignoring it? The president refused. That's not necessary. Are you sure that at that point it was not necessary for the president to lift the immunity of Israel with those ukwa bags? Let me say this. What you are seeing, some of the matters I don't want to refer to as matters because they are in court. You are seeing certain individuals being found with property. The church hasn't seen that. Because we know how much the president earns every month. We know how much Edgar Lungu declared in 2016. We know. You think HH doesn't know the properties? About those opportunities? Then you hear someone saying, because we've been sympathetic of the first family, because when people are mourning, it's not time to attack them. But as a party, it seems we're being invited to that. When they claim that there was no official who welcomed us at the airport, we had to use Uber. How do you reconcile that with someone who is saying he was fleeing the country? How? Friends, we must be fair with one another. Even President HH is a human being. On one hand, you are saying he's fleeing. On the other, you want the embassy of Zambia to welcome you. Does that make sense?
Confusion.
This is what we are saying. If the family decides to join in politics, we will meet them as political opponents. Political opponents. We can always mourn our former head of state with integrity and dignity. But if they invite us to politics, we are game. You cannot say he was fleeing. When we arrived at the airport, there was no official. If he was fleeing, how would you invite the same government official again to welcome you? And when we are listening, we said, oh, okay, he was fleeing at it. But they are saying that there was no official to welcome him. How possible is it that the same government can welcome him and take him to where he was supposed to be? Because the family clearly refused the state assistance. The government doesn't want to be dragged in these conversations. They are above that. If you want the government to disclose at every point the help they were extending and whom they were sending, they have the capacity to do that. But is it necessary? You heard one time when President HH said, I talked to my brother. We talked to each other on the phone. He said he's lying because they had political ambitions. Now you have the same people that have contributed to his health today, trying to demonstrate that they care more. They knew that he was unwell. They dragged him into politics. Now, what they are scared of now is that they are accomplices themselves. Because they knew he was not okay. If they claim that he was stopped from going out of the country, why were they dragging him into politics? Why? Why were they taking them to the battlefront to politics? Since they are claiming, as they are claiming that he was being denied access to medical attention abroad, then they are not sincere to themselves and the nation. Then they are to blame that they were dragging a person who was unwell into politics. They must take responsibility. So we do not want to delve into that, but like as I've mentioned, The political party, ruling political party, my friend, is not devoid of speakers. We have a lot of cadres, even online, who know how to talk. But we have told them not to comment on certain things deliberately. Not that they can't respond. So we want to make a clarion appeal to the former first family that instead of us politicking when someone has lost their life, let us reach a common ground, agree, bury, and live on. Because there is life for those that have remained behind after the burial. You cannot subject a person who once ruled the country to 2 graveyards waiting for him. Where did you see such a thing? You can't do that. And we have citizens who are saying the wish of the family. Why do you want a former head of state to be buried like an ordinary person when there is a presidential burial site? Why? You've heard our colleagues, condolences to them as well, to the people of Nigeria for losing their former head of state. They were not buried in London. Even if he was ejected from power. Condolences also to our friends in South Africa. They lost their former deputy president. Deputy president. Or they call their vice president deputy president. Okay? Levi Mwanawasa died elsewhere. The body was brought back here. Then matter who disagreed with him. So I think I'll end here unless there are one or two questions.
Manguza.
Huh?
Manguza.
Manguza, the position of the party is that who breaks the law, the president has already given direction, is on their own. If people have broken the law somewhere there, rather than driving the party, let them be answerable in their individual capacity, because our party has a position with regard to violence. The president has been very clear. You break the law, you are on your own. This is why our cadres don't go to hunt down PF cadres. We are taking them Pakam Godi because of what the president said. They were torturing us. They will get wires, connect them to electricity. They start running the money back. That's what they were doing. They will get, you know, that plate for a stove, the round one. They will connect it to power. When it's ready, they move it, they put it in the city here. That's what they are doing. Are you telling me that our cadres who are found in those areas don't know how to do such things? It is an issue of leadership. We have a president who said, and he has told them that if you want to do what PF was doing, you must first get rid of me. That's what he has told them. Get rid of me, then you can continue. If you want to chase PF members from the market, because those are subjects, you must get rid of me. I'm sure you know yourselves that he has even been criticized for certain appointments of well-known PF members. That's the type of president you have. He's saying, as a Zambian citizen, let's look for a skill. And even announce and says, we are aware that there are PF-aligned civil servants. We have given you time. If you do not change, we'll get rid of you. They have remained. You think he doesn't know them? You think he doesn't know them? He would flush them out if you wanted. So, when we understand the type of leadership we have, then we can have a fair conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wamana?
Wamana.